Are you considering selling merch or merchandise for your brand? I got a question this week about when is the best time to start selling merch inside of your business. And this is outside of your products, not your courses, not the products that you're selling, your PDFs, your physical tangible products. This is not it. This is merch for your brand, merchandise, swag, gear, things that people want to buy because they like you and the brand that you've developed. When should you start selling hats and t-shirts and notebooks with your name on them and all of those fun things that people love to collect from the creators that they love? Merch is an interesting thing because it is really fun to promote your business with, but it's also kind of costly for you to make. So there's a couple of things I want you to keep into consideration. The first is that you cannot be selling merch without a creative community behind you. If people are not in your community, you have nobody to sell to. And you can have all the coolest swag in the world, but it doesn't matter if you don't have that community who wants to back you and represent you. Because remember, with most swag, this is stuff that people are wearing out in public. If it has your name on it, your slogans on it, they have to feel comfortable enough representing you. So you want to make sure you've got an active community first. That is the first consideration. Do you have a group of people that surrounds you and is so eager just to be a part of your space that you can create content for in merch form? Then you can move forward with this. And now we have a couple things we have to figure out because merch can be costly, man. You have to think about what they're actually going to use, what they're actually going to do. So just because you find something really cool that you think is amazing doesn't mean your audience will. I am very girly. I like very girly things, but the vast majority of my followers on my YouTube channel are male. They're not going to like the frilly girly things that I like. So I would have to keep that in mind if I were going to be creating swag for my community. I would want to be things, or I would want to have things that were more inclusive to all sorts of people. I've also seen companies that only do things that are incredibly not girly, and I would never ever want to be someone who wears a sweatshirt or a ball cap or all of these things that people keep sending to me. I wear them for an unboxing and then I stuff them in my closet, and that's the end of that conversation. So you want to make sure you've got enough of a range that people are going to actively want to be involved in that type of merch. So if you are doing candles or notebooks, if you're sending out pens, if you are going to be creating, apparel for people to wear, be aware of what's going to work for the majority of your audience. Do your best, take some surveys, find out what people want, then move forward with that. I also recommend if you are going to be doing merch that you do print on demand. So unless you have a massive community, you are going to want to do print on demand. It will cost a little bit more to produce because it's being printed as it's being purchased, but it saves you a lot of time and effort having to buy in bulk. If you create something, you can get the cost down, but you're going to have to buy a lot of it, and then you're in charge of storing it. It will sit in boxes in your basement until someone buys it, and then you're responsible for actually going into the basement, opening up the box, taking the thing out, packaging it up, taking it to UPS and mailing it out to these people. It's a lot of extra work for you, where print on demand is fulfilled by the producer, the person who is creating that particular type of swag. They'll print it when it's purchased and then they'll ship it out to the person. Now, there are pros and cons to both of these things. You may want to do some heavy oversight, and you may actually want to have a lot of samples in your house so that you're the one responsible for sending them out to make sure things actually happen. But that's a ton of time and effort, and you're going to have to price it to then cover your time. I like print on demand for most things, even though it's a little more costly to produce, just because it saves me a lot of time and effort and headaches making sure that things are happening. I may not be able to go make a delivery every single day. I do not want things to be held up because of my schedule. I want to make sure that people get things when they want them, how they want them, in their right sizes, with their determining factors if they get to customize anything. I want to make sure that it gets delivered in a timely fashion and in the best possible way to them. So I lean more toward the print on demand side of things, but you don't have to. So now you need to start thinking those things through. Print on demand doesn't usually cost you anything up front unless there's some kind of mold that you have to help create. And you will have to pay up front for your swag if you are ordering in bulk and then doing the work yourself. So it's something that you have to determine that monetary factor for. Do you have the money to support this? And what happens if nobody then buys your products? Because I've seen that happen to many, many people. Print on demand kind of eliminates that, but buying in bulk also allows you to have it there and have it at that lower price, which you can then also take to events if you're signing at different events and things like that. So Once you have your community and you've spoken to your community to see if it's something that they want, then you can decide how you're going to be producing this swag, and then you can move forward from there. Now you have to think about how you're going to sell it. Is it through your print-on-demand site? Is it through your own website? Is it through your checkout cart? There's a lot that goes into it, but it all boils down to what's going to work best for you and your community without digging you in a very deep financial hole, because you have to be paying for a lot of things. So test things out first. Do small batches, small runs, or do print on demand and see what's going to work for you. I would suggest running your designs by a small group of your community to see if it's going to work for them. So you want kind of a beta group or a test group to see if it's something that they're going to resonate with. You do not want to be printing up sweatshirts and then have nobody like them. So be very, very clear that you are testing a small group of highly valued members of your community. This is not your entire community in most cases, although you can let the entire community vote. But if you're getting feedback from anybody, keep it as a small group. We don't want too many cooks in the kitchen for this one. And then you could potentially open up to your audience as well. Or start by opening it up to your audience to narrow it down, and then having that select group come in for quality control purposes to make sure it's going to fit best for you. There's a lot that goes into creating swag, and I've been doing this for a long time. As a multi-time best-selling author, I have created book boxes, I've created all sorts of apparel, I have created all sorts of, just very interesting things that you wouldn't think of to market my books, to take to book signings, etc. And I know a lot of the great printers, I know a lot of the great products, I know how to make things unique. I've even made magazines for my products, my books, my businesses, all of these things. So if you have questions on creating merch for your business, go ahead and drop those down below. We can do expanded videos on this. I can kind of show you some of the behind the scenes if you want to see how we use the website, how we design things, all of those. I'm happy to answer your questions if you have them. So if you want to know more, you have to tell me down below and I will create more content on this subject for you. Otherwise, this is a great overview of when and how you can be running swag and merch inside of your business. But it all boils down to making sure you've got the community first, then getting them involved in the process so they know it's coming, so that they're ready to go with this, to make sure it's going to benefit you and them at the same time. I will see you in upcoming videos as we help you continue to grow your online platform so you can make more money but spend less time doing it, so you can get back to running your business and live your best life. I'll see you in the next episode.